how do you feel about Brock Purdy's performance last night and also his performance overall in the playoffs?
I see a lot of potential in a guy that can be the guy. I mean, I also have to put into perspective it's his second year. He's coming off of an injury, and I think he has some intangibles that are elite. And especially paired with Kyle Shanahan, I think there's a lot that can be done there. And I think he's only going to get better. I love, you talk about leadership. I love the way he answers questions. I love his demeanor when he's winning or, when he's losing, as far as seems like he has his mind in the right place. And, I expect him to be even better next season. As far as his play in the playoffs, I don't think this team gets as far as they did without his ability to kind of turn on a dime and turn it on, when it's not going well for him at certain portions of the game. And I think he makes really, really good plays with his legs. And, I think he got better and better with decision making as the playoffs went on. And ultimately, I don't think that, obviously he's not as good as Patrick Mahomes, but I would say for a majority of that game, Purdy was playing better than Mahomes. But obviously when crunch time came down to it, Mahomes made better plays. He ended up executing, and unfortunately, when Mahomes' offensive line was breaking down, Mahomes was able to make the plays late. Fortunately, Purdy wasn't able to make the play, when he needed to, when his offensive line broke down. And I think ultimately that's what ended up, why the Chiefs won and the 49ers didn't. But to me, I'm rocking with Brock Purdy. I think he has shown enough to continue to continue to put your faith in him and allow him to get even better. And like you said, you start judging a quarterback based off of their third year. Next year is going to be his third year. So we get to see exactly what he is. And luckily, 49ers don't have to make a decision on him yet. So we get his full third year to see if the trajectory we've seen him on gets even better.
Yeah, I have. If you just look at raw statistics in Brock Purdy during the regular season, he certainly took a major backstep in the playoffs. But when I look at the games and what he was able to do in crunch time, I talked about this before the Super Bowl. I love the way that he played. I love the way that he came through in clutch moments. And I thought that showed a lot of growth on his part. As far as the Super Bowl went, I think it all comes down to expectations. The last comment said that Brock ain't it. We'll find that out, I think, over time. People know my stance. I don't believe that Brock is ever going to be that franchise quarterback either. But I'm not going to act as if he can't get there. And I'm going to give him next year before I fully kind of have a decision on who I think Brock Purdy is and if he's worth paying or not. That being said, my expectation of Brock Purdy is that of a player who is in his second year, his first full year starting, coming off of an injury. My expectation of Brock Purdy is not that he's an elite quarterback. And based off of my expectations, he met all of the expectations I could have looked for in that Super Bowl. He played, in my opinion, to what he is today, to the best of his ability. He is not the reason that the 49ers lost. Okay? Now, Patrick Mahomes is great, and great quarterbacks do transcend, and that's why you need an elite quarterback. And I've broken down the stats many times of who wins Super Bowls and who does not. Either elite quarterbacks win Super Bowls when they're paid, or quarterbacks who are very inexpensive and not elite win Super Bowls. There is no in between. There is no guys that are very good getting paid a lot of money winning Super Bowls. It hasn't happened yet, and it's probably not ever going to happen. Brock Purdy right now meets one of the two criteria to win a Super Bowl, and that's what's heartbreaking about last night, is that he meets the criteria of inexpensive quarterback. And inexpensive quarterback playing at his level was good enough to win the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, it didn't get done. My concern is that was their best chance. It's going to be extremely difficult to make it back again next year. And I don't know that he'll ever have the opportunity again. And I do worry that if they don't make it next year, and I have my doubts in this moment, that paying him basically relegates your franchise to not making it back with him at the helm. But we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. I think Brock had a very good season. I think Brock exceeded all expectations of who people thought he was going to be coming out of the draft. I think Brock is a good quarterback. I think anybody who doesn't think that he deserves to be a starting quarterback in this league or hasn't done things that Jimmy Garoppolo clearly has not done in this offense maybe are being very biased or don't like Brock Purdy or haven't watched enough, whatever the case. I think that he's proven himself to be a starter, be better than Jimmy, and gave this team an opportunity to win a Super Bowl. Unfortunately, they came up short, but I have zero issues with how Brock Purdy played. Do I still question, can he be the franchise guy? Is he worth giving a lot of money to? Yes, definitely. No, my mind has not changed based off of this season. However, do I question whether he can get better or we're going to get the best of Brock Purdy? No, because I believe in Brock Purdy and his mentality, and I think he's going to get the most out of who he is physically. I just don't know if who he is physically is enough to ultimately be that guy long term, but we'll see. We will see. Let's see. All right. I think I might have gotten this one. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
that was the one that led to our topic about Brock Purdy. Brian says O-line needs to be addressed. They lost the game. For sure. Dave Barclay says Mason, Mitchell, McCaffrey run by committee. They're definitely going to have to run the ball a lot more with those other guys next year. You can't do with CMC what you did this year and get away with it. I don't believe. Brother Bob says, Dave, we can't use all our running backs. Kyle's rule. Sorry. Dave says, BB is Brother Bob, the man, the myth, the legend. Oh, okay. I said Bill Belichick earlier. Mike drops with Monza. What's up, man? It says, has the 49ers benefited from a weak NFC on this run? Absolutely. And I think that's what makes this season harder is that we know that teams are getting better and they're going to close that gap very, very quickly. Everything lined up for the 49ers to win the Super Bowl. I think not only was the NFC the weakest it's been in a long time, Kansas City was weaker than they've been. I personally don't think top to bottom they were as good of a team as the Ravens were. I was kind of happy to play the Kansas City Chiefs. I thought they were gettable and beatable, and the game just didn't go their way. Patrick Mahomes is the boogeyman. I mean, what are you going to do? Wolf Life says, guys, why us? I'm deflated at this point. Man, I feel it. You guys have been my therapy. I'm just being real. Cryptic says, people don't realize how spoiled we are. We are not losing in the wild card or divisional. We are losing in games that decide if we have a chance to get number 6. Can't take that for granted. Sure. I agree with that. I just think that we're all ready to get over the hump, and it's frustrating when they don't. Because we also know how hard it is to get there, and when you get there and you squander it, it sucks.